Hey, what's going on? Nick Unsworth here, and welcome to a fresh new episode of Life on Fire TV. And so I've got a little assortment here, and I'm about to assemble what I have referred to as a goodie bag with our Pay It Forward Friday TV episodes. So if you haven't checked those out, it's just Pay It Forward Friday TV, and we just run around and we do like a random act of kindness all on camera. It's super cool. So today, I'm going to kind of combine the Paying It Forward with the really cool MTV Cribs style interview that we're about to shoot. So I'm going to Jonathan Budd's place, and he's got a gorgeous home in Encinitas out here in California. And I was thinking, what should I bring him? And I started with thinking, maybe this cool Life on Fire glass. And I was like, all right, well, what am I gonna put in it? You know, maybe a 6-pack of beer. And he's a healthy guy, so I figured, you know what? Why don't I bring him some juice? So I've got some banging juice. It's a whole assortment, and I've actually been doing these juice cleanses from the Juice Diva, Megan Ann, and it's so good, and I feel so energetic, and I've already lost like a few pounds. I'm getting in great shape. So he's a health nut, so I'm gonna hook him up with some really fresh, cold pressed juice. And I'm also gonna hook him up with a little Life on Fire t-shirt, one of these bad boys. And we're gonna hook them up with, you gotta have a Life on Fire sticker. You gotta put it on your Mac, right? And then with these little wristbands. And you can't forget Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vee. And so this is actually the book that we put in our Page Burner book club that went out this past month. And if you haven't seen the interview with Gary Vaynerchuk, you gotta check it out. We have behind the scenes with Gary Vaynerchuk. We actually even had the keynote from our big event in San Diego, which is amazing. It was so cool. So these are some of our best shows. So if you haven't seen those, definitely check those out. You can reach that by going to GaryOnFire.com. So I'm gonna wrap this stuff up. We're gonna hit the road, and we're gonna go see Jonathan Budd.
Hey, what's going on? Nick Unsworth here, and I'm a kick-ass business coach, and I'm on an absolute mission to help you find your purpose in life. To help you love what you do for work every single day, to help you be the rock star that you are meant to be, to make more money than you ever thought was possible, and to have more time freedom so you can actually enjoy the life that you're living. I'm here to help you set your life on fire.
All right, so we are rolling up on Bud. So I'm driving to Encinitas right now, and we're cruising up to his sick home. And you know, the reason why I wanted to interview Jonathan Budd is because he, to me, is a perfect example of someone that's living a life on fire. So, I mean, he loves what he's doing for work. He's on purpose, and he's always on a mission to just to literally live his purpose. So whatever ideas pop in his head, he just goes for it. He dives head first, and he goes for it. He doesn't care what people think. He doesn't care what people say, and he just goes big. And he's a walking inspiration for many people about just going for your dreams. So he's a great example of a life on fire. He's been very successful in a couple different industries, and he's a lot of fun. So we're gonna roll up there and do a little MTV Cribs style interview with him. And there's gonna be some awesome nuggets that are gonna shake out of this episode. So stay tuned. All right, just rolling up in Bud's crib. Looks amazing. Can't wait to see the view. Got my little my bag of fun here. Let's go. Follow me. Gotta give the signature knock. Yo, brother!
What's up, my man?
What's up, dude? Good to see you, man. Journey goes good.
Come on in.
Sweet.
Welcome.
All right, all right. Got a little surprise for you.
What you got there, dude?
It's a little housewarming gift, if you will.
Oh,
It's a doozy.
Nick.
It's heavy. It's heavy.
I'm starting to get suspicious. Wow, dude, how am I supposed? Come on.
I know.
What am I supposed to do?
Dude.
How's his gift-giving ability? A glass cup. Oh, light
Hey,
on fire.
it's shocking.
All right.
I know, right?
Now I get it. The cup makes more sense. What? These aren't even alcoholic beverages.
Well, see, I didn't
This
peg you
looks-
for a beer drinker. I mean, I know we've had parties here and there, but
You're a smart man, dude.
you know,
That probably wouldn't have gone to good use.
exactly.
But this.
But you need to take a
This.
sip of that, dude. That right there is the special sauce.
Oh my goodness. This special sauce is going to go to.
Dude, I know you believe in clean living, man. So
Wow, dude. Look at this. I'm genuinely excited now. And
See?
this is
See?
like-
I knew that
You've got
beers
the
would
beef,
not be appropriate for
you've
Jonathan
got
Budd.
No, they would.
This is a full 1 day cleanse, but you can just
Bears?
drink it as you go, man.
You're supposed to drink all this in a day?
Yeah.
What?
This
Do you
one,
know
this
what
one's
that would
ridiculous.
do to the inside of a human being?
And make them amazing. It'd give you superhuman powers.
Oh my god.
Awesome, man. So tell us. So would you call this your dream house?
Absolutely.
Would you say you're living the dream?
This is the first time I would authentically say I'm living my dream. Correct.
Would you say you're living a life on fire?
Well, not only would I say I'm living a life on fire,
He's about to be
but
wearing
I'd
it.
say that I'm branded with a life on fire.
Don't forget the glasses, bro.
Can we do some? Let's pour some life on fire juice.
Oh
in here.
man.
I would definitely say that you could say I'm living life on fire.
And that's the whole premise of the show is, to ultimately to inspire and help give some actionable steps to you guys watching about how to get to this life that people dream about when you're little kids. I want to share this with you and you guys, which is I had this time where this was back when I first started hanging with you. This was back in like maybe 2009, and I was $50,000 in debt. I'm buying all the courses. I'm at the Eben Pagan conference. I had a credit card and borrowed money. I rolled up there, dude, with protein in a sandwich bag. Like when you picked up that dinner that night, I was sweating bullets because I would have had to be like, yo, bro, forgot my wallet. You know what I mean? So I was totally roughing it, but I still had the dream inside. I had dreams of this view. I had dreams of living in a place like this. And now ask you a question. You're driving your, was it A4, S4? Your Audi, yeah.
The
way back.
R8.
No, that was before that.
Oh, before
Yeah,
the R8.
way back.
Yeah, way old
Way
school.
back, yeah.
the 4.
The 4.
A4, yeah.
So I remember being just trying to figure out what the magic bullet was, right, for success. And I remember looking at you and being like, dude, so what is it, man? I'm like trying all these things. I had a business that failed. I'm at this event and I'm just like going in a million directions. And I remember being like, what is it? And you turned around while you're driving and you just take massive freaking action, man. And I was just like, oh, okay. So that was just something that was crazy, man, that you said to me that for some reason that just hit me in a different way. But tell me about just how,
Nice.
How did this come to be, man? Like obviously you've had a crazy journey you've been through, but what's a technique or a mindset nugget you can share with us where how did you manifest and build this? What goes on in the head of Jonathan Budd?
All sorts of stuff that nobody should know about. But you just kind of hit it on the head. Massive freaking action is actually what produced this right here.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of different phases for people based on where they're at when they're starting.
Yeah.
And there's a point in all of our careers when we just have to take action because you don't actually know what it's going to take to be successful yet. You don't. You're crossing over into completely unknown territory. There is oftentimes not a roadmap, even though there appears like there's roadmaps because, hey, there's formulas, there's this, there's that. I can bet money if you're watching this, you probably have an individual business, an individual case. There's something so individual about what your success is going to be. And so because there's not really a roadmap for everybody when you're playing in this new terrain, where we're creating a life that is our passion, it's what we love, it's what we're on fire about, you just have to go for it with absolutely no idea how you're even going to do it. And you just have to figure it out on the way. And I think that's what most people stop because they don't have it figured out, so they don't go for it.
It's almost like the fear of the unknown holds them back from even doing it. And have you ever heard the saying? It's once you have the passion, the how will always figure itself out. So what would you say as far as how did you have a belief in yourself? Like you've gone through that and just gone straight at what you believed in and dreamed in, but why did you go forward when other people would stop? Is it something where you're just born with a gift of believing in yourself, or things that you do, or there's things that you've gotten to this point, things that you've read, or just
That's a great question. And, you know, I think, again, the answer is going to be different for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, for me, I think a lot of it was really driven by two things. You know, it was driven by, number one, my vision. You know, I had a vision for the world. It wasn't even like a vision just for me. It was a vision for how does my life fit into this greater grand scheme of things? Like what contribution, what role, what am I really here to do? And that vision, even though it was undefined and unclear at so many times, compelled me. And the second thing was really actually pain. It was really a very difficult upbringing. Like somehow having a really difficult childhood and really difficult upbringing really just motivated me to want to give back, to want to do something different, to want to change. I was just completely unsatisfied with the status quo.
Yeah.
So I would say those two things.
That's huge because, I mean, everyone, it's so funny. It's easy to look at a guy like you and this beautiful home and the lifestyle that you have and be like, oh man, he's lucky or he has it all. And it's like, you know, every single person has some crazy things they've went through, you know, whether it's being abandoned as a kid or a foster kid. And it's like, if you can harness that and turn it into your biggest opportunity, you know, like Life on Fire is completely because of my past, because of a pain that I had in my past and wanting to love what I do and help other people love what they do. It's like the entire thing was born out of the biggest challenge in my life. And in your case, it sounds the same to be true.
Totally
So
true.
before we dive into some of your journey, which I really want to get to, and what's cool for these guys is, I think what this episode is going to ultimately end up kind of flowing towards is helping to inspire them to really pursue whatever that dream is. And I want to drill down on just how do you really figure out that vision and, you know, some steps that they can take to really figure out what that purpose is, that alignment, so that you can take that action, man, and just dive straight in. But before we do that, why don't we get a little tour of the place, man?
All right,
so
come on.
Show us what you're working with, man.
Step into my dream. Well,
Step into the dream.
This is our kitchen, and Laura pretty much just mostly loved that. That was really the big, strong, compelling thing here. But at the same time, the earthiness, like our dream is like, you know, we're super sort of natural, you know, like we love organic stuff. Everything is
The
earth,
juice.
like, you know, the juice and so the wood, the earthy feeling, it was like this was totally, and being on the ocean, being connected to this much nature. You know, you look out your backyard and there's the biggest freaking stretch of nature, you know, pure energy that I've ever seen. That was our dream. That's what compelled us to manifest this place.
It sounds like from, like we do this thing with the morning routine, we've got a couple other people, and the energy just from connecting to your environment and to nature. And it's like, whether you have this or not, it's like just actually going out. I mean, we've got people that will go drive a half an hour to the beach just to be in that environment, to put yourself there, you know. And are there other things that you've done before you had this to kind of get here, or just nonstop connecting?
Yeah, ever since you wake up, you realize that you can't disconnect from nature and be healthy. You know, like nature and health are totally united.
Yeah,
so,
cool.
Come on. So this is our ceremony room.
Ceremony room, okay.
Yes, that's
all right.
Manjushri. Don't mess with this guy. Seriously, that's the sword of truth in his hand
all
right there.
You don't mess with the sword of truth.
You don't want to mess with the sword of truth.
Type of sword you want to mess with.
That thing will cut you up.
It'll get you, man.
And,
It'll get you.
You know, basically, we've been leading all sorts of events recently. Like Laura does her women's circles here once a month.
Okay.
We've been leading different types of healings. We've got our gongs all set up everywhere.
We're gonna have to fire that thing up at some
bowls.
point.
We'll fire that thing up. Hell yeah, man! It's the Gong Show. We're bringing it back. But we do sound healings all the time, stuff like that. Come on up here. I'll show you the.
So tell me, what is a sound healing? What's that about?
Well, sound healing is when you use all these incredible, beautiful instruments which create a specific vibration to either relax you or cleanse your energy centers, your chakras. It's just super therapeutic. Like people who have a sound healing, like it it really releases, built up energy and emotions and toxins and things that are just sort of in your system. Let me just make sure she's not here. Baby.
Could be awkward.
Baby. All right, we won't come in the bathroom.
That'd be a first. That'd be a...
This was kind of what sold us, minus all the bird crap. But don't you worry, sugar. We're not gonna do anything. We gotta get out of here.
All right. We gotta get out of here. Oh man, that'd be the first, like, oh, hey.
Whoa, there's somebody.
And that's Sugar.
That's her.
Oh, this is awesome, man.
This is where the magic happens. Set up my crystals everywhere.
So tell me about the crystal, man.
Just sort of, 360-degree crystal radius while I'm freaking working.
So is this the secret? Do we need crystals?
This is the secret right here. This, whatever this thing is, I don't know, but it's kind of crazy. It's millions of years old, and somehow the Earth turns into the most beautiful, elaborate, incredible colors ever. And colors are all associated with different energy centers too. So this one is all about your third eye, which is your creativity. So amethyst totally sort of unlocks and opens creativity.
Unlocking the third eye with Jonathan Budd.
Yes.
Getting crazy. So do you feel like do you feel different if you're in an environment with this thing here than if...
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, they're all over my house. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if you saw the giant ones
right near the Sword of
but...
Truth, man. There's a couple over there.
No, just even from an aesthetic perspective, aesthetically, it's beautiful. It's calming. It affects you.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people purport that there's energy qualities and spiritual qualities and lots of other things about crystals, but even just the aesthetics of it, I find impactful.
And I think just a key takeaway, man, is like workspace and how important it is. It's like the theme that I'm picking up on throughout your home is, this was a dream to get to, but it's like, did you have similar setups wherever you were on the journey here?
Everywhere.
So it's like, how important is it to have a workspace that you do have good energy and flow in there? And it's like, we're gonna spend as many hours a day as we do working. It's like, let's make that thing a little sanctuary. It's like, for me, I was in a back bedroom in a really crappy home, but I painted it blue, I wish I had a couple crystals, but that was a start, Painted my dining room blue for selfies for the blog.
That's all you need, right?
Told me to take massive action, I did. I'm painting the walls, man.
That's awesome, brother.
Man. So cool.
Yeah. Hey, come on out here, come up and be on top of the world in Encinitas.
All right, top of the world.
This property is actually the largest bluffside estate in Encinitas. So we've got the biggest stretch of bluff. And Encinitas is, I think, the absolutely coolest place in San Diego.
How would you describe the bluff? For people that don't know what a bluff is it just...
The bluff is this thing down here. So it's the giant bluff.
Just the cliffs or whatever.
Cliffs, yeah, cool. Because the cliffs run all sort of North County until you get up into Oceanside. But this is also the highest, I think the highest property. So it's beautiful.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
A lot of sun tanning happens up here, which nobody gets to see.
Just a couple of guys from Connecticut living the dream. That's a story in and of itself.
Oh man.
Dude, what are you rolling on these days?
What do you mean?
Driving.
Oh, the Tesla.
Dude, I remember you had the R8.
You know that?
Nah, I didn't know you were a Tesla guy now.
Dude, Tesla all the way, bro. As soon as I realized that I could be powering my car by electricity, I was sold. I was done. Forget it.
That's
great. 100%. And it doesn't hurt that it's pretty much the most badass car too. See, I don't know. You wanna?
Let's take a look at it real quick.
You wanna hit the Tesla?
I wanna see it, man. I'm a car guy, dude. I love cars.
Have you ever driven?
No.
You plug it in like an iPhone. I mean, it's literally like an iPhone. I just get home and I'm like, ding. I mean, everything's touch screen. You just open your rooftop, like sliding crap around on the
That is a
screens.
crazy panel.
So
you haven't looked
huge
back,
fan.
huh? So after this to the RA, I mean, not even
Done.
close.
Done.
Not even close.
It feels so good, like just to have to also, like, I think one of the big topics of life on fire, right? What does it mean to live a life on fire? It means you live a life so closely aligned with your values.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're truly living your values. There's nothing about your life that compromises your values at all. And to me, like, I'm thinking about where's the future of humanity going with fossil fuels?
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, every second of every day that we continue to burn fossil fuels, we are risking the future of this planet. So for me to be able to take an action step that's significant to remove a big source of that was what sold me.
You know what's crazy is that makes me think about alignment, and you being so aligned with like your vision for this lifestyle. What would you say to someone that maybe they're working in a job that they don't love, or maybe they have something in them but they're not sure what it is yet, or they still are dreaming about, you know, a lifestyle like this or a life on fire, but you know, how do you figure out what that purpose is for you, or that alignment? You know, how did you kind of take steps to learn what that is?
That's just it. I don't think you can figure it out. I think you just have to go for it. And you follow these little intuitive hunches.
Yeah.
Like, you might have a feeling and it's just like, I hate my freaking job. This sucks, but I don't know what else to do. And I'm scared. And then you just have this feeling like, I have to quit, or I have to do something, or I have to whatever. And it's just like nagging at you, and you do it. And all of a sudden that unlocks something else. Like, you meet somebody who gives you a book who, holy crap, I'm really passionate about this. And next thing you know, your life starts to unfold, you know, because you're following that hunch, you're following that inner knowing, that intuition.
Yeah.
I think that's what
that's so key, man. That's so cool to think of it that way, because I'm just relating it back to, like, in my head to my life. And it's like, you know what? There was no way I always knew I wanted to do something with my life, but there was really no way to actually figure it out. And everyone talks about how do you find your purpose and like, what's the way? And there is no freaking way. But it's having the courage to go towards that hunch, that intuition, you know what I mean? And
Totally.
And cool. All right, so you want to settle in the other spot?
Yeah, let's
do it,
go.
man. Awesome, guys. Good to have you back. We're settled in next to the, I don't know if you guys can see the sword, but it's going to be an amazing next segment here. So basically the main, what I'd love to get you to share with us is a couple things. One is just how to get the alignment, the purpose. We kind of talked about that a little bit earlier, but now let's just say that if they are taking the action, they are saying, you know what, I'm sick and tired of just not living my life on fire. I want, you know, the view, or I want, you know, to love my life, and they're ready to take the next step. What is the next step? Let's just say they've got an idea and they're ready to maybe pursue it part-time, right? Maybe they're ready to, you know, leave the job, but what's the next step would be, you know, getting set up or building audience, you know, or framing it together. What's your...
You know, I would almost think like, what are you resisting doing right now? Because there's almost this point where, you know, we know what that next step is in a way. Like, all of us reach that place where it's like, I know I just need to go to this conference, or I need to buy this book, or I need to set up my first capture page.
Get the actual website up.
Or, I need to find somebody to do my blog. And there's resistance to it.
Yeah, that's
you know,
a great point. Yeah.
What is the resistance that you feel? You know, what is that?
That's huge.
That's the money.
You know what's crazy is I think that having that self-awareness of identifying what is that big fear or that resistance. Why do you want this, you know, to pursue your passion, whether it's like golf, it could be, you know, cooking, or it could be fitness. It's like, and then if you have the awareness to just think of like, and actually get honest with yourself, maybe, you know, get the truth sword going. It's like, but get honest with yourself and figure out what is that thing that is holding you back? Because what's crazy is that is the key to actually being able to move forward. And there's a book called The War of Art, Stephen Pressfield. thing is crazy because the whole book is devoted to that concept of resistance.
Of moving through your resistance.
Yeah, because if you fear it, and that's what's holding you back, and then if you just push towards that, you're always going to grow like crazy.
Always.
All right, so we got
smash it, smash through that freaking resistance.
Just get it.
There's no other way to do it, too, by the way.
So if we going from, all right, so we're there heading towards the resistance, and let's just say for most of the audience, I mean, it could be folks building a podcast, entrepreneurs building brand. One of the things I think of you as an absolute master in, like out of everyone I know as an entrepreneur, you've got a gift to build up an audience like no other. From watching your YouTube videos, in the past to, your events to, building up an army of loyal fans. So what are some really cool tips, or where would you start to build your audience?
That's a great question. We were just talking about this. And I always did it. I'm different. I liked paid advertising. So I always I create a product for a market that I know really well and I know is going to serve that market, and I go advertise to it, and I make sure that it's a sustainable business. And I've always built my audience through actually going out there, spending money on Facebook dollars or Google dollars or whatever it is, and building a list and building an audience. And then, once I do that, then I start feeding them with all the content. And
awesome.
The content is, I think, what you're talking about for how to really create that magic.
Yeah, I know that what's crazy is that thinking about that, couldn't anyone, right? If they were so inclined and motivated enough, couldn't anyone buy traffic and build up their audience? Like, I think what's really cool about hearing that about your story is that anyone can just put that process together. So dive a little bit about knowing your audience. And so, what was the product for, like, maybe an example of like a product for an audience. So if someone wanted to duplicate that model, a couple steps to do that.
Well, it's a great question. I can give two examples. The first was, what did I actually stumble into? How did I stumble into my business? And that was the industry of network marketing. And, I had no idea, absolutely no idea what I was going to do with my life when I was 20 years old. I pretty much rejected vehemently the status quo, what it wanted me to do. I was like, this sucks. Like, they want me to essentially be a slave for 40 years in debt, paying off my mortgages and my loans and my cars and my this so that I can one day retire, in like 80 million
golden
years,
years, man.
It made no sense to me, but I didn't know what to do. So I was introduced to network marketing, and that for me was a hook into the entrepreneurial world. It was like, oh, wow, here's a business model, pretty much the only one I'd ever seen. And,
it must
I figured
be good.
I'd run with it.
It's gotta be good, right?
Yeah, I figured, hey, this is better than the other one. So, I started just by accident. That was my foray into entrepreneurship. And so that became my focus, that became my passion, and I started creating products around it and doing my thing around it.
Yeah.
Now, as I began to really get to know myself more, what do I really care about? What are my, my passions? What's really the number one motivator for my life? Then it's shifted. My priorities have sort of shifted, and I've focused on, bigger visions and other things.
Yeah, and it's, now, do you think that's a function of your life just changing, or are you evolving as an entrepreneur and getting clearer and clearer and clearer about what your purpose is and going towards that alignment?
That's it.
Yeah.
It's just nonstop clarity, more and more and more and more on what our purpose is. What are we really here to do?
And once you find that sweet spot, man,
then it gets a hold of you, and then it doesn't let go of you.
So cool. So, you've used paid media to create an audience. And so one thing that is, I think, really would be really helpful for everybody is thinking about the level of, I knew, you back then when you were doing this, and you knew the audience so well. You knew that target market. You knew that they were a network marketer, and you knew that they were being taught, go to your warm market, and ask mom and grandma, to be a customer. And you knew that was a frustration. And then you packaged all that up and said, that way's broken, guys. I have a better way, and here's how to use online marketing to get more leads. And isn't that what it's about? So tell us just about, how do you get to know your target market, and how do you create a product for them,
Great question. Yeah, I mean, I think that, for me, I immersed myself so deeply into my niche. Once I found something I was passionate about, I was obsessed. I immersed myself so deeply in that niche that I studied it, I understood everything about it, and I looked for ways to innovate. And I think that's such an important spark in entrepreneurship, and anybody who's wanting to be more of an entrepreneur, is that you're always looking for ways that you can innovate. You're always looking for how can you add value that doesn't exist in the world right now, stuff that nobody else is doing. And every niche has that. Every niche has that. There's a unique way to tell a story. There's a unique way to sell something. There's a unique way to craft your product that's going to appeal to certain people. There's unique things that everyone can do that innovate in even small, tiny little ways. And that's what you're looking for, is those little innovation points, because that's your differentiator. That's how you come to market with something different than what's out there, and it makes your message strong.
Totally. And I think, you obsessing about your target market, it's like, that is, I time and time again, I end up, working with clients, and they're not clear. And it's like, I'll never forget Eben Pagan at that conference saying, narrow your niche, don't be, Jonathan Budd, the coach for everybody. It's like, you narrowed it down to network marketing and built a huge audience around that. And so by building that audience using paid media, the products that you were selling, so that was just the solution to a problem that they had. So you knew your audience really well, and then you identified a problem, and you just had that be the solution. So tell us about that part of the funnel.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, every really strong value proposition is a solution to your prospect's problem that they currently don't have, and something that they didn't even know about. If you can make it something that expands their actual vision, like gives them a whole new reality, a whole new worldview, that's going to be really exciting for them. And so I think one of the things we did really successfully was we opened up people's minds. We opened up all this possibility for people that didn't exist before. Yeah. And every good product does that, I think. Should do that.
Should, definitely. And it all comes back to that clarity. It's like, it's almost like it starts with the clarity on the inside for yourself. And then you got to, spend the time to have clarity on your customers so that you can know what to give them. And then, so once you've done that, I'm just thinking back to the early days with Jonathan Budd, tell us about some tips about how you built up the audience. So give us your take on personal brand, because I know you're a big proponent of that. So versus just a corporate company name, or why is that so important?
I mean, it depends on the type of business that you're in.
Yeah.
If everybody watching this is in some type of personality business, I mean, it's crucial. And before you go into a personality style business, you should really do some assessments. Like my favorite is the wealth dynamic test.
Okay. Cool.
Wealth profile. And the wealth profile will really tell you what your core wealth assets are. So for me, a personality centered business, and I'm actually shifting away from that. It served me very well, and I've appreciated it, and I see that there's limitations in it.
Sure.
But my profile is a star. Like my wealth profile is a star. So if your wealth profile is a star, then everything you do should be about being in front of people, because that's your strongest asset. That's where you're going to flourish and thrive. Now, if your wealth profile is a trader or a deal maker, or a lord, which are real estate type people. Yeah. There's all these different wealth profiles. Then you shouldn't be
in that role.
You should not be trying to make content all day and every day and get in front of people, because that's not where you're going to shine. It's not where you're really going to excel. So I think first is know yourself. Yeah. And second, when it comes to building a brand, all you have to do, to hell with all the strategies, create authentic freaking value. Create authentic content. To me, like, my brand was never a strategy. I didn't ever have a strategy. What I had was people on my list who I cared about deeply, people who were coming to me with a problem that was freaking meaningful and something that they really wanted to solve. And I didn't take that lightly. There's a sacredness to that. You know, people are showing up, you know, asking for help on some of the deepest matters of their life. That's sacred. And so every piece of content I ever made, everything I ever did was because I cared so much.
Yeah.
And I do care so much about people and who we're here to serve and who we're here to help. And so that builds a brand because people connect to that, people resonate with that, and they trust you. And a brand is nothing more than trust. That's what a brand
way to put it.
Brand equals trust. And corporations spend all this money trying to do what? Get you to trust them. And the best brands in the world are what? The brands we trust the most. So remove brand and just think trust. And how do you get a friend to trust you? Show up for him. Be there for him.
Let him drive your Tesla. I trust you, bro. Does he trust me, though? Yeah. Maybe next time.
I do. Let's totally go cruising.
Yeah, I got a lead foot, though, man. It's literally made of lead now.
It's not a problem. Tesla can handle it.
Comes back, there's like this much rubber left on the tires.
I'd be pissed.
Yeah, no. Well, that's cool, man. So, you know, building up audience, and one of the times I remember just going to your event, Unstoppable, and seeing a sea of people. So tell us about what that was like, putting on an event like that, and just give us your take on events. You know, we just got started, you know, throwing some really cool events. But what's your take on, you know, is it effective in terms of marketing? Would you do it again? But what's kind of behind the scenes on a big old event?
Well, I think that, you know, there's a lot of different ways to look at this question, but it's all about strategy. So there's one, you know, is it your passion? And Unstoppable, the point wasn't to make money.
Yeah.
So I didn't make any money.
I should have seen this thing. There was like laser beams everywhere. It was like a rock concert.
If the point is to make money, that usually affects decisions. So to me, it was just something like, oh my God, I have to do this event. I love people. Like it was part of my purpose.
The star was coming out.
Correct.
Yeah.
And at the same time, things have to be sustainable. You know, if I had just $1 billion in the bank, yeah, whatever. Let's do some Unstoppables just because we feel like it. You know what I mean? But you kind of need to make money at some point too. And so, yeah, the advice I would give to that is start small.
Yeah.
You know, there's really no reason to spend a lot of money if you don't have to. You know, start small and just focus on your content and have a clear strategy for how your event model makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, you need to have, you know, additional products. You need to have a flow through your products so that your event model really makes sense. Otherwise, it is going to be very expensive to put. It is expensive to put butts in seats. You know?
Well, if you had to give a ballpark of your event costs and just the whole thing, like the thing,
it was close to $400,000. Total soup to nuts, everything.
The thing was, I mean, there was it was a production, man. It was awesome. It was cool. So sweet. So you know, we're taking us through kind of, you know, getting clarity on yourself, your customer, building audience. You mentioned paid traffic. I think some nuggets that are just about authentically connecting with your audience. What about content? You know, what are maybe a couple nuggets about how to create those raving fans, you know, or social media?
Well, I think that, you know, for me, the fans who I feel most connected to are ones that are kind of already resonant with my message in some way.
Yeah.
You know, they're people who are, they're alike. So I guess the best way to do it is just be authentic, you know, because if you try to be something for somebody, like I'm trying to be something for somebody, I'm trying to be a marketer for this marketing crowd, or I'm trying to be a teacher for this crowd, it's just not very powerful. Like there's an authenticity lacking in what you're doing. There's an energy lacking. And when you're just authentic and you're like, you know what, I don't really give a crap. I'm just going to be myself. I'm just going to talk about what matters to me. I'm just going to tell the truth, whatever that truth is. Yeah, a lot of people have popped up and said, oh, you know, they don't like me, or I rub them the wrong way, or I'm stupid, or whatever the hell it is. But then there's this whole other group that's just like, I love that person, you know, like, oh man, like that's somebody speaking what I feel and what my heart is. And now there's glue there. There's real connection. Yeah. But if you try to be something for everybody, then you have no glue and no connection to anybody. Rather than just being yourself, dealing with haters or dealing with people who you rub the wrong way, because there's a million different types of personalities and not everyone is meant to connect with everyone. But the people that love you are going to love you, and you've got glue, and that's the basis of an audience.
That's really, really good stuff, man. Because that's, I tell you, like, you know, people, I mean, whether it's public speaking or I'll never forget, I mean, I would go to like these BNI networking meetings, and you have to stand up and like say your name and stuff, and I would be like sweating bullets, and I hated public speaking, and I get stuck doing this like this presentation somewhere, and I'm like looking at other speakers, and you ever see them like hold their hands like this, speakers, doing like the diamond thing, and so like I didn't know what else to do. I was so uncomfortable. I was like sweating bullets. I'm like standing there like this, and someone said I sounded like a used car salesman. I just about like gave up on life, and it was just mortifying. And it was like, you know, first like my video for my blog, like it took me 8 hours to shoot myself with like my own story, and it was like, you know what? That's so much work to try and be like that for someone else. And I think what's crazy is just my observation of you and of some of the best people I've ever seen on video is it's actually just them being themselves and being so freaking comfortable, you know, and not trying to, you know, be someone else. And it's so much easier, you know, at the end of the day. You don't have to think as much. You just be you, right? So that's the glue. I like it. All right, so we're building up audience, and then what would you say is just as far as, you know, something that's happened to you that, what is a business struggle or a failure? You know, a quick story of just something that really, you know, put you down and out. You know, the journey through, you know, you've had a wild journey as an entrepreneur, but just something that you thought was going to be a winner, maybe it wasn't, or something that just an up and a down that, you know, so that other people can hear. It's not always rose petals and.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much never. It's rare. It's like, you know, 20 pieces of coal and a petal. You know?
Coal again for Christmas? Like, man.
I mean, it just never ends. I mean, there's been a million. It's like, you know, from the time you get started and you just fall on your face and fail and fail and fail and fail and fail. And finally you get a lead, and like all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I got a lead, and that's a petal. And then, so, I mean, that's just been like throughout my whole career, you know, merchant accounts getting shut down, advertising accounts being lost, being kicked out of companies, being, you know, villainized, being this, being that. I mean, it's just like, and each one is very damaging.
Villainized.
It's hardening. Oh, the vilification.
We have to call this like interviewing the villain, Jonathan.
No. It is remarkable how anytime you do big things in the world, I mean, think about it, like, the president of the United States gets elected with 70% of everybody hating him. You know what I mean? So it's like, anytime you're going to do something big, most people probably aren't going to like you. And then like, there's going to be like some people that like you. And that's a weird thing for human beings to adjust to, because nobody wants to be disliked. Nobody wants to be hated on. So yeah, that's been super challenging. Financial things, oh my God, I've lost so much money the last 2 to 3 years because I've just been really heading into all these new learning curves, you know, really learning, you know, technology development on a whole new way. I'm not an engineer, I'm not a technology guy, I don't know shit about that.
It's like more money, more problems, man. You know, it's like, you know, different levels. It's like,
I can't even, it just makes me pull my hair out.
And it's just, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. It's like, people, there's an illusion about, you know, entrepreneurs and about like reading the books or listening to shows where, you know, you want this fantasy lifestyle, but there's a reality to it that you got to be mentally tough and have the mental toughness to go through some serious pain. And for some people, that's not worth it, you know, because it's almost like you have to change your entire mindset to be okay, knowing that stuff's just going to happen.
Totally,
you know?
Dude.
And so what do you,
great insight.
What do you do to to stay fresh and positive, man. Where you have an up or a down, or technology changes, or so what's some nuggets on staying positive?
Sometimes you're just not gonna. I mean, sometimes you're just gonna freaking hate things. You're just gonna hate life.
On under a wet blanket.
You're just gonna want to punch somebody. I mean, these are all natural feelings as you move through.
Is there a punching bag we haven't seen? There's like a wall that's got holes everywhere.
But how you stay going is your vision. Like there's been times where, yeah, like it sucks to lose, $400,000, or it sucks to, lose $500,000, or it sucks to spend, 12 months developing something and you have to scratch the whole thing. And it sucks to, watch a company go from $500,000 in revenue to, $100,000 a month or whatever it is. It's just, all those things suck. And all of that has happened. I've watched my company from 2010 totally change, and like everything restructured, and like we lost all our advertising accounts. I had to like reduce my entire team. It was like the most hellish, painful, shitty period. But it was also the fire. It was the fire of transformation. Like out of that time period, who I really am more authentically was born. What I really want to do with my life was born. What I really want my work to be was born. Like everything is born out of whatever you perceive as a failure. Period, end of story. Everything's born out of that. Unless you twist it in your mind and you make up a story about, oh, woe is me, and I guess, you blame the world, and you're not actually looking for the growth, you're not actually looking for the lessons, then you completely lose the gold that is inherent in every difficult experience. But if you're looking for the lessons and your mindset is just of, how do I use this to grow? It's either this or something better, then you find gold in every single painful, challenging experience you ever have. That's the key. That is the key.
That right there makes my freaking hair stand up thinking about that, because out of everything we could have covered, that is the absolute most crucial, biggest nugget. Because if we look at it and we just be real with each other, and we know that every entrepreneur is going to go through a ton of failures. They're going to get coal for Christmas, 3 years in a row. It's like, God, man. But it's how you react to it. So it's almost like you've got skill sets to do different things, but it's one of the biggest skills that you have is the ability to take a really crappy situation, which every entrepreneur goes through, and you react and think, what's the positive? How has this changed my entire life? And that is wild. And that right there is, if you can, take that journey as an entrepreneur, and just know that these things are going to be happen, and be aware of it, so that when you have that, wow, like awful experience, or I'm thinking of so many that happened to me, and it's like, take that thing and let it fire you up for the next rev of you, the next version of yourself. So one thing I want to just dive into very briefly before we wrap up is when I think about a life on fire, right? And this was a conversation we had on the phone just about a week ago before this. I mean, there's everything from financial success, and we did see the car and the home, but that's only a piece. And, tell us about the love of your life and how that's impacted your life, because that is a piece that you can have a cool house, nice car, you can have a great business, but it's completely worthless if you don't enjoy your life along the way. So tell us a little bit about just that side of your life and why it's so important.
Yeah, thanks for giving me the opportunity to reflect on that. My dream was not complete until Laura showed up. Period and end of story. Like there was just something missing, and it was like, nothing could buy that, no amount of success, no contribution for the world, nothing could replace just that love, really having that partner in your life who you just love so freaking much you can't even explain it. So for me, it's been absolutely huge. I mean, it's been like something that has allowed me to step into, what my life is really about in a much bigger way. I'm getting ready to be a father. I've got my first daughter popping out here pretty soon, dude.
Crazy, man. Congratulations again. That's so wild.
It's crazy. So it's like, Yeah, there's this whole other dimension that's unlocked.
Yeah.
And it's so much richer and more meaningful. It makes everything else more meaningful. But, you know, success without that meaning in and of itself is pretty dry. It's really dry, actually. You can't, it's not super fulfilling very long. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Oh great, you know, we made some money, we can party, we can celebrate, and a week goes by and it's, you know, okay, where's the substance? You know, where's the real drive? You can't be high off the fact that you made some money forever. And so most people who don't really want depth just keep trying to make more money. It's literally like a drug. It's just like, oh, I made money. I got to make more. 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 Why? Because their neurochemistry is hardwired to, that's how they get high. It releases dopamine. It makes them feel good. And they just are drug addicts really for money. And that's sad. And I've met a ton of people like that. And I hope you're not like that. But if you are, the meaningful stuff in life actually is much richer and more fulfilling.
And that's such a great, I mean, you know, topic, because it's, at the end of the day, it's the journey, man. It's loving your life every single day. It's not just, you know, like waiting to get this house, and that was like the main point, and then you get it and you're like, you know, I mean, it's amazing and you love it, but it's not like everything, and it's to enjoy your life. And that's, you know, another reason why I wanted to have you here is, you know, from, you know, being your friend and just, you know, observing, it's like you're on your mission, you're aligned with what you're here to do, but you're always having fun along the way. You know what I mean? And like, and that's just so key for everyone to, you know, if you're not having fun in your business and you're just being a drug addict making money, it's no good. No. All right, so we're gonna wrap up. Before we do, so tell us about how we reach you and what you're working on, and how do these guys get in touch with you if they want to connect and they want a little glue bond with you.
Come on over. Come dive into the soup. Facebook.com/Jonathan Budd Live.
And what are you excited about?
Yeah.
What's a project right now? Give us something you're excited about.
So much. I mean, there's three major things. You know, we're launching an academy right now, which is really going to be a new school, a new education for this whole emerging movement of entrepreneurs who really don't fit into the mold that the educational system provided.
Okay.
Right? If you don't fit into, I'm going to be an accountant or a lawyer or this or that, and you know, all those people who are, it's amazing, but there's this whole emerging group of people who don't really fit in there.
Yeah.
And we're looking for what's our thing, what's our passion. And so we're creating an academy that really just breaks down step by step what it takes to build a business you love. That's an exciting thing happening right now. And then there's My Stand, which is a new app that we just announced literally like 3 days ago. It's something I've been working on for almost 3 years. 3 freaking years. This is part of the hair pulling out sort of events. And
still got it though, man.
A little bit. It's some of it is receding.
It's
you
fleeting.
know, there's been some.
And I'm having to like do my hair like pointed down on the side. The woman says that I got a haircut yesterday. She goes, "You want to leave that a little longer so it doesn't covers it up?" I'm like, oh, am I really having this conversation, man? Yeah. Went to the doctor. I tried to get Propecia from the doctor. Wouldn't even prescribe it.
What do you mean?
Because it kills sexual drive. And I was just like, but I've taken
it.
Yeah,
I mean, whatever.
I know.
It's back here. I'm totally cool.
I know. We'll be fleeting. Right next time you see us, we're gonna
be withered away.
We'll look like Larry.
It's all good. Oh,
Larry.
Man.
Oh man.
Yeah. So My Stand, back to what matters here, besides our male pattern baldness, is a game you play to change the world. So you can go to iTunes if you have an iPhone right now. You definitely have to sign up for this. We're literally causing a movement right now to reach 1 billion people around the world to take one action a day to shift the direction of humanity, to be environmentally sustainable, socially just, and spiritually fulfilling. It's our mission. That's what gets us up. So we just rolled out a technology that enables that to happen. So you can find it in iTunes. Just search My Stand, one word, My Stand, and come join the movement.
And that's a free app too, right?
Yeah.
Free app, My Stand.
Come
I love it, man. I love what you're doing. It's great.
I love you, buddy.
Hanging here today, so thank you for
Feel
everything.
it. Life's on fire.
Feel it.
This brother's got the passion.
Awesome. Well, thanks, brother.
Yeah,
Cool,
appreciate it.
Sweet. All right, so we just wrapped up with Jonathan Budd, And it was awesome. I had a blast doing it. I hope you guys had a blast watching it. I think that there's some really good takeaways. So dive in and put those nuggets to use. And also, I just wanted to share one last thing too, which is to check out some of the other shows we have. Go to the Moment on Fire show that we have. That's a great mindset technique. But scroll through and check out other episodes that we've got, and let us help you get to that life on fire. And also, if you haven't, check out Pay It Forward Friday. Today is Friday, and we're actually on our way to go do a video with John Lee Dumas. So he is one of the top podcasters with Entrepreneur on Fire, and we're about to go do what he says will be our #1 and best Pay It Forward Friday of all time. So that's what we're going to do. So maybe check out our shows and check out Pay It Forwards, and also lifeonfirecontest.com. Every single month we're spicing it up with really crazy prizes, cool things, just to help us out and participate. So lifeonfirecontest.com. Hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
I'm here to help you set your life on fire.